There's a kind of breakup that almost nobody talks about. It is not a divorce. It is not a business split. It is not a fight with a stranger online. It is the breakup of an old friendship. A friendship that may have lasted 30, 40, 50, and perhaps even 60 years today. Could be a college friend, military friend, your neighbor, a couple you traveled on a few cruises with, someone from work, someone from your religious institution, your club, your card game, the mahjong, the golf course, the dinner group, perhaps the old neighborhood, and someone who knew you before you were old, someone who knew your spouse, your children, your parents, your stories, your losses, and your history. And then somehow politics got in the middle. Maybe it was Trump. Maybe it was a hatred of Trump. Maybe it was MAGA. Maybe it was what some people call TDS or Trump derangement syndrome. Perhaps it was COVID. Maybe it was Israel. Maybe it was race. Maybe it was the immigration situation. Perhaps it was the courts, the election, January 6th, the media, crime, guns, gender, religion, or the future of our country. Regardless of what is on that list, the result is the same. A friendship that survived marriages, jobs, children, illnesses, moves, and decades of life suddenly could not survive politics. This is Senior Power, and today we're talking about something that belongs in the friends and family part of life, of our senior life, when politics breaks old friendships. Not because every friendship can be saved, not because every opinion must be tolerated, not because people should surrender their principles just to keep the peace, but because old friendships should not be destroyed carelessly, and because many people are losing relationships without stopping to ask, is this really about values? Or has politics trained us to see each other as enemies? Why does this seem to hurt more as we get older? Well, it appears that when you are young, friendships change all the time. People move, people marry, they get busy, they change jobs, raise children. Some friendships do fade and new ones form. But later in life, old friendships carry a different weight. They are not just social contacts. They are living witnesses. They remember who you were. They remember the earlier chapters. They remember your younger self, your struggles, your victories, indeed your mistakes, your family, your spouse, your children, and your old stories. That kind of friendship cannot simply be replaced by meeting someone new at lunch. So when an old friendship ends over politics, the loss is not small. It can feel like losing part of your own history. It can also create embarrassment. People may not want to admit, my best friend stopped speaking to me. My cousin will not come to Thanksgiving at my house. Our old dinner group split right in half. My longtime friend thinks I am a terrible person now. My friend says I am brainwashed. My friend says I am dangerous. My friend says, I support evil, and says, I betrayed America. These are not ordinary disagreements. These are identity words. And that is why the pain can be so sharp. Here's the important point. Most friendships do not break because two people disagree about tax rates, zoning, trade policy, or how much money should be spent on a program. Friendships break when politics becomes a test of character. That is the shift. One person is no longer saying, I think you are wrong. They are saying, I think there is something wrong with you. That is where the damage begins. Disagreement says, I see the issue differently. Contempt says, you are stupid, you are immoral, you are dangerous, you are brainwashed, you are hateful, you are un-American, and you are part of the problem. You are not the person I thought you were. A friendship can often survive disagreement. It usually cannot survive contempt. That may be the most important sentence in this entire episode. A friendship can often survive disagreement. It usually cannot survive contempt. Once contempt enters, every conversation becomes a threat. Every news event becomes a test. And every election becomes a loyalty oath. Even jokes become suspicious. Silence becomes evidence. That is not friendship anymore. Basically, that's surveillance. Let's talk plainly here. Some people use the phrase TDS, or Trump derangement syndrome, to describe people who seem unable to talk about Donald Trump without becoming enraged, obsessed, accusatory, or morally absolute. Others would say the same kind of obsession exists on the other side. People who see every criticism of Trump, MAGA, or their political camp as betrayal, conspiracy, or proof that the other person hates America. Whatever the label someone uses, the social pattern is similar. Politics becomes total. The other side is not mistaken. The other side is evil. The other side is not just wrong. The other side must be rejected. The mindset is deadly to old friendships. Because old friends are complicated. They are not bumper stickers. They are not cable news segments. They are not social media posts. They are people whose lives you have known for years or decades. But political rage makes people flatten each other. A friend becomes a Trump person. A friend becomes a liberal. A friend becomes MAGA. A friend becomes woke. A friend becomes a traitor. And a friend becomes a fascist. And a friend becomes a communist. A whole human being reduced to a label. And once someone is reduced to a label, it becomes easier to throw them away. That is the trap. Senior power's position is not that politics does not matter. Politics does matter. Values matter. Character matters. Country matters. But old friendships also matter. So the serious question is, am I responding to the person I actually know, or to the political label I have placed on that person? That question can save some relationships. Not all, but some. Some friendships can survive political difference if both people are willing to preserve dignity. Not agreement, but dignity. That means each person can say, I strongly disagree with you, but I am not going to insult you. I think you are wrong, but I am not going to erase the history of our friendship. I do not want every conversation to become politics. I want boundaries, not warfare. That is how a relationship survives. There are old friends who simply agree we are not going to discuss Trump. We are not going to discuss politics at dinner. We are not going to forward each other political articles. We are not going to debate cable news. We are not going to use family events as campaign rallies. That may sound artificial, but it may also be wise. Every friendship does not have to carry every subject. You can have a friend you talk politics with. You can also have a friend you talk grandchildren, baseball, health, travel, food, memories, books, and so forth. Or even old times. The idea that every real friend must agree with us on every political issue is absolute childishness. Older adults, we should know better. A mature friendship can have rooms. Some rooms are open, some closed. That is not dishonesty, that is preservation. Here we go. Unfortunately, when the friendship cannot be saved. We have to be honest here. Some friendships cannot be saved, and some should not be saved. Senior power is not telling anyone to tolerate abuse, threats, cruelty, humiliation, harassment, or constant contempt just because the relationship is old. Age alone does not make a friendship healthy. History alone does not make a relationship worth keeping at any price. If a friend repeatedly insults you, mocks you, shames you, attacks your family, sends hostile messages, tries to humiliate you in public, or turns every conversation into a political inquisition, that may no longer be a friendship. It may be a habit, it may be guilt, it may be fear of being alone, but it may no longer be friendship. There is a difference between disagreement and degradation. Disagreement can be managed. Degradation should not be normalized. A useful senior power test is this. After I spend time with this person, do I feel respected even if we disagree? Or do I feel diminished, attacked, or contaminated by contempt? That is not softness. That is self-respect. A friendship should not be thrown away lightly, but it should not be preserved at the cost of dignity. You know, we cannot discuss this without talking about media. Many people are not just having political opinions. They are living inside political media environments. Cable news, talk radio, podcasts, indeed YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, email change, group texts, partisan newsletters. Outrage is profitable, fear is profitable, and contempt is profitable. The more frightened and angry people become, the more they watch, click, share, and argue. Of course, that affects friendships and other relationships. A person may not arrive at dinner as just themselves. They may arrive carrying 10 hours of television, 5 forwarded articles, 3 angry podcasts, and a social media feed designed to make them furious. Then the friend across the table becomes the target. That is not really a conversation. That is media pollution entering the relationship. Our question: is this really my friend talking? Or is this my friend repeating a political machine? And the companion question: am I doing the same thing? That second question certainly matters because it is easy to see propaganda in the other person. It is harder to see it in ourselves. This problem is even more difficult when it enters families. A longtime friend can be avoided. A cousin, sibling, adult, child in law, or grandchild is more complicated. Politics can split holidays, weddings, birthdays, funerals, group texts, family business, inheritance, caregiving, and end of life conversations. A senior may feel, I cannot speak honestly in my own family, or my children think I am ignorant, or my grandchildren think I am hateful, or even my sibling has become impossible. Perhaps my in-laws will not stop provoking people. This is not just political conflict, it is family stress, and for seniors, family stress can be especially painful because later life often increases the need for connection, support, and cooperation. The same principle applies. Do not confuse silence with peace. Sometimes people are silent because they are wise. Sometimes people are silent because they're afraid. The goal is not to force every family member to debate politics. The goal is to protect the family from becoming a battlefield. A family gathering should not require everyone to surrender their beliefs, but it may require everyone to show some restraint. That is not weakness. We call that civilization. So, what should you do when an old friendship or even a family relationship is breaking under the weight of politics? The first answer is do not react immediately. Don't send the angry text or fire off the long email or post something on Facebook designed to make a point. I would not call 5 mutual friends and start building a jury, and do not give one dramatic final speech just because you are hurt. Act like an adult. When politics damages a relationship, the emotions can be powerful, certainly, including anger, embarrassment, a feeling of betrayal, grief, even shock. You may find yourself thinking, how could this person believe that? Or worse, how could this person think that about me? But the first job is not to win the argument. The first job is to understand what actually happened. Was this the only ugly conversation? Or has this become a pattern? Was your friend simply disagreeing with you? Or were they attacking your character? Did they say, I see this differently? Or did they say, in one form or another, hey, there's something wrong with you? That distinction matters because disagreement can often be managed, but contempt usually cannot. So before you decide whether to repair the relationship, distance yourself, set a boundary, or even end the relationship. Ask some hard questions. Is this relationship still meaningful outside of politics? Do we still share memories, our affection, humor, loyalty, or history? Can we talk about anything else anymore? Can this person respect a boundary? Can I respect one too? And have I contributed to the damage? Have I shown contempt? Have I reduced this person to a political label? Have I stopped seeing the whole person? Those are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary because sometimes the other person is the problem, and sometimes both people have helped turn the relationship into a battlefield. Then ask the most practical question of all. After I spend time with this person, do I feel respected? Even if we disagree. Not agreed with, respected, there is a difference. A person does not have to agree with your politics to respect you. But if every conversation leaves you feeling insulted, mocked, judged, humiliated, or morally condemned, then you are no longer dealing with ordinary disagreement. You may be dealing with degradation, and degradation should not be normalized just because the friendship is old. At the same time, do not throw away a long friendship too casually. Some people are worth a difficult conversation. Some relationships observe a pause before that fateful final decision. Some friendships can survive even if both people are willing to say, we are not going to do this to each other any longer. We are not going to turn every conversation into politics. We are not going to insult each other. We're not going to use the news cycle to destroy 50 years of our history. That is not weakness. That is judgment. But if the other person refuses any boundary, keeps provoking, keeps insulting, keeps testing your loyalty, or keeps treating you as morally defective, then you may have your answer there. Not every relationship can be saved, and not every relationship should be. The senior power approach is simple. Do not decide in anger. Do not decide under pressure. Do not let cable news, social media, political parties, or outrage merchants decide for you. Step back, look clearly, and ask whether there is still respect and whether there is still kindness. Ask whether there is still a relationship beneath those politics. If there is, be sure to protect it. If there is not, just release it with dignity. Because ending a friendship is not always victory. Sometimes it is just sad, and sadness deserves thought before action. That is direct. It does not surrender. It does not beg. It does not insult. It puts the question where it belongs. Can we preserve respect? If the answer is yes, the friendship may survive. If the answer is no, at least you know what you are dealing with. Do not try to win the whole friendship with one perfect argument. You won't. Do not send 10 articles proving your point. That usually makes things worse. Do not diagnose your friend as brainwashed, evil, stupid, or insane unless you are prepared for the relationship to end. Do not use social media to humiliate someone you once loved. Do not recruit mutual friends into a loyalty war. Do not turn every holiday into a political test. Do not assume that the loudest political version of a person is the whole person. And do not assume that preserving a friendship means surrendering your values. Boundaries are not surrender. Distance is not hatred. Silence is not always cowardice. And ending a relationship is not always victory. Sometimes it is just head. Here is a senior power rule for this episode. Do not let politics automatically decide which relationships survive. Decide deliberately. Some friendships are worth protecting, some need boundaries, some need distance, some need to end. But do not let cable news, the social media, and so forth make that decision for you. You make it with judgment, with self-respect, with memory, with boundaries, with honesty, and with an understanding that all friendships are not disposable objects. They are part of a life. When politics breaks an old friendship, the loss is real. It may not look dramatic from the outside. There are no court papers, no funeral, no official announcement. But inside, something important may be gone. A person who knew your history, a person who shared your table, a person who remembered your younger years, a person who was part of your life. That deserves more than a reflex action. It deserves thought. Maybe the friendship can be saved. Maybe it cannot. But the decision should be yours, not the media's, not the party's, not the internet's, and not the loudest voice in the room. Disagreement does not have to destroy friendship. Contempt, on the other hand, often does. So ask the hard question. Can we still treat each other with dignity? If the answer is yes, there may be something worth saving. If the answer is no, there may be something worth releasing. Either way, choose deliberately. Information is not enough. You need understanding to go along with it. Hey everyone, let's stay connected. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment about this series. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Look forward to it. Thank you.